The pitch panel is always an interesting experience for me. I watched it actually last year, and I think it was last year, maybe it was 2 years ago, where Marshall or somebody bought one of the pitches in the room.
That's right.
And so that can be very exciting. We didn't have that this time. Nobody bought anything as of yet. I don't know, Rose could be down there buying this one movie. But the thing that I find so interesting about watching or participating in a pitch experience is sometimes there's this feeling of desperation that this is the last shot somebody has to like have their whole life change to become a, work in the movie business or work in entertainment or whatever. And it's so hard to try to explain to somebody that if it starts to feel like that, it almost becomes scary to the person on the other side. It's almost like stalkerish, or like you're sort of like, whoa, dude, I can't carry all of your hopes and dreams. This should be a casual conversation about one story idea, acknowledging that there's 200 stories out there. And, I said, so I try to encourage people. Now, the pitch session makes it even worse. It's 300 people watching it. It's on a microphone. There's like 4 producers. So I think it's an interesting, but I do think it's really important to get across ideas like, if you don't believe your thing is a good movie, right? Nobody else is going to believe it, right? We don't wake up as, I would say I'm moderately successful producer, that I'm allowed to keep doing it. I haven't won the lottery where I don't have to work anymore. I love movies. I still have to go pitch after I pick the projects. So for me, that's the advantage I have, is I have a resume I can lean on. But I'm still trying to decide, can I sell it? Can I not sell it? How hard is it? And I just think for people to understand that it's a tough experience, that there are the magical mystery moments where somebody's like, yeah, I ran into somebody at a hotel, I told them my idea, and now I'm a producer, But you don't hear that very often.
That's true.
And so I would encourage people to back down a tiny bit on the desperation of the whole thing. The thing that's really frustrating to me right now in the sort of producer world is there isn't anybody left who just wants to be a producer. The idea of just being a producer is gone. Every single one of those 5 were writers or directors. And they were doing the pitch to try to sell the script they wrote. They were writing the script, and they were doing the pitch to sell the script they wrote. The one girl wanted to direct the movie, right? There's nobody left who is just, there is a real role for a producer. And it's frustrating to me because I think producing matters. I think producing is important. I think projects that actually have a delineation between a producer, a director, a writer, actors, financier is better. And it's better run, and everybody understands their roles, and I think turns out better projects. And so it was very, sort of just in the way back of my mind, I was like, oh, here we go. So then in the last woman who made a pitch about sex slavery, she hadn't said anything about what she wanted to do. She didn't say she was writing it. She didn't say she was part of it. She had a personal experience, wanted to tell a story. I was like, oh, finally, just a producer. And then Michael said, so what's your role in this project? She's like, I'm the director. And I was just like, oh, here we go. Everybody has another job. Nobody can just be the producer. We're at a real crossroads right now, I think, specifically for producers. I think that what your role is, what your value is. Lynette said it very well on the panel about how, look, most of what producers do is sell. And so what we're doing is trying to figure out how best to sell. And it's become very difficult to sell solely based on a good idea or a good screenplay, and you're a producer, right? You need talent attached, which would be a writer, director, and actor. You need some level of funding, financing, or, if you're lucky, distribution. Most of the distributors have decided to move one rung back, where they used to be willing to invest in development, willing to invest, and when a big book comes out, or J.K. Rowling wants to do something, yeah, a distributor will show up and say, okay, we'll do this. But my entire career was based on that. No one ever heard of Matt and Ben. Nobody ever heard of Good Will Hunting. Nobody ever heard of American Pie. Nobody ever heard of those things. We went and convinced studios they should make them, and all those stars got bigger, all those people. You don't see that at all. And so for a guy like me, who's based his career on finding good stories and then saying, I'll help go put them together, but I'm not the director, I'm not the actor, I'm not the writer, those kind of deals are disappearing. And so for a guy like me, I'm struggling to figure out, do I partner up with money? Do I partner up with talent? Because I spent 15 years working with Matt and Ben, and there was a lot of advantages to that. The problem for me, and I admit this to them, and I admit it openly, is it's a taste-based business. So, you know, I like working on things I like working on. So it's a total selfishness that if me, Matt, or Ben disagree on something, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta go produce that anyway. I'm like, nah, I like it better where I just produce what I want to produce. But it means you're all alone a lot out there, and you don't have a lot to sell. So I'm fortunate that right now I'm not feeling the financial pressure, mostly because my wife has a good job and I've had a couple projects that were successful. So that I can still pick and choose based on the projects I really like. But it's difficult, and you know it's changed dramatically in the deal structure. You know, you used to set things up for for development, you'd get a little money. Then you'd get it made, you'd get some money. Right? And then if you were lucky enough to have profits and it did well, you get a little bit more money. So you think, okay, I'm gonna spend all this time working on this because I know I'm gonna get paid 3 times when I go out and sell it. Now, you're lucky if you get to the profits. The fees, except for Netflix, who right now is creating a new model, which is I'll pay everybody to show up, but there's no profits and they don't pay you for any development. You just show up and you go make the movies. You get paid fair, they pay fair, but there's no upside, there's nothing else, and so I'm still a little old-fashioned and hoping for, I like a little bit of the gambling side of, I think people are gonna like this. But so it's weird to figure out how you're gonna make a living, it's weird to figure out how you get health insurance, all those practical things. It's taking a lot longer and you get paid a lot less. Like I happily lived a life for 10 years making 1 project a year, and I was making more money than any of my buddies from high school and doing whatever. Now I'd probably have to make 3. And I don't have that kind of volume, nor do I have that kind of time. I personally think some of the big questions have been answered. And I think that the industry as a whole is just slow in accepting the answer. And I always say that the film and television business is right behind the music business. So if you remember the music business, there's all these record labels, oh no, it's gonna be fine, streaming doesn't matter, there's not gonna be, fucked, excuse my language, right? Gone. Now it's coming back out. They're figuring it out, they're figuring out how to make money, there's new systems, Spotify, whatever, coming through. It's exactly the same thing here. It won't just be Netflix. Disney's new thing will work. There'll be other brands, but it's all basically subscription one. And that's what HBO's known for the last 25 years. Because what subscription is it's prepaying.
That's right.
Right? You're saying, I'm gonna give you this $10 a month because somewhere in the future you're gonna have a show I like. The movie business isn't that way. We gotta spend all the money, all the marketing, put it up in a theater, and see if people buy tickets. And if they don't, you spent all the money. You can't call everybody up and say, okay, nobody liked it, let me have your salary back, right? Nobody does that, right? So the problem is subscription, I think, has won the model, unequivocally. I think there will be pockets, pay-per-view pockets, some theatrical releases, other stuff that will work. But even those big successes, Disney's subscription model will be supported by the fact that Black Panther's available on their subscription model. Even though it was a big hit in theaters, it's still valuable for a subscription. The thing that these big subscription things are affecting is there's no real foreign value anymore because they're buying worldwide rights because you can watch Netflix everywhere. Right? So there's no more pockets of profit where you made it once, but you get paid 3 times. Gone. Now you may be able to get paid twice if it does well in theaters, and then it has its streaming life. But even now, they basically make you stay with the gamble all the way through theatrically. So like Manchester by the Sea, we didn't get any money until it was on Amazon Prime.
Interesting. Wow. I didn't
now, the people who paid for it got their money back. But nobody was making any profits, nobody saw any money until it went into their system. So you have to wait that whole process. And so it's a very different game, so I think that's one thing that's been decided is I think pretty much every one of the big media companies is going to want to have a subscription service that actually works. Now whether it's Hulu has 2 or 3 of them, right now it's backed by I think 3 of the companies, but there will end up being 4 or 5 of these subscription things, and my personal view of the future is they'll merge just like Hulu and Spotify are doing stuff. They'll merge and you'll get music, movies, television, short form, sports, and we'll all have to decide how many things are we going to subscribe to.